Okay. Oh, you're mute.
Thank you.
Hey,
How are we doing, Chris?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, I've been a bit busy though. That's why I'm still working on the PR, but I should have a draft ready next time we meet. Because I have some exams I need to write this few weeks for my
Sure. Yeah. What are you doing? Writing exams?
quarterfinal exams. Yeah.
Um, are you still in school?
No, it's for work for my new job. Yeah.
You got a new job.
Yeah, I am in school, but I only do part-time now.
Um, what do you what's your new job?
It's wealth management.
And do you like it?
I think I will, yeah, because I tried to become like a wealth management like or wealth planner before, but I never got a chance to, so I just want to try it out.
Nice.
I got an
Nice.
offer, so yeah,
Oh, congratulations.
thanks. But I won't be a software engineer though. However, I think like I will still get to use my software engineering skills to automate my tasks. Haha. Yeah, how are you? How was the summit?
Chris, it was probably one of the best ones I've been to. Typically being proprietary, working for IBM, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We would not only have a large conference in Las Vegas, but we would also do black hat and things like that, where I think there was like maybe we get like 40,000 plus people, and this was only like under 2,000 people. And I thought to myself, it's probably one of the best conferences I've been to. And so, hey, Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
Um, And actually, Tracy and I were sort of talking about that. Chris was asking about the conference, what we thought, and I thought it was like one of the best. And the content was phenomenal. The keynote speakers were great. Um, I just enjoyed the whole darn thing.
That's good.
So yeah, yeah,
Well, it was eye-opening. Let's say that.
yeah. I mean, the are you talking about like like what our lunch thing happening, the S bombs, or
Yeah, that was really
yeah,
interesting. We did have probably the least advertised and highest attendance um, for a session, and it was an hour and 30 minutes. And we had about 80 people in the room for that whole period of time, Chris, and we talked about CI/CD and cybersecurity.
Cool.
And I'm telling you right now, this is a very worthy project because we have a long way to go in educating DevOps engineers and encouraging them to start adding more security into their pipelines.
Okay.
even S
It's
bombs. Sorry.
even S-bombs. Their response to S-bombs was they're inaccurate. It's a checkbox. It's a waste of time.
Okay.
So I would say we have a very long road ahead of us. I think if we can get the information in a really condensed way, the way we're approaching it, I think the work that you've done and the format you're creating is super helpful, and it will be something that people are interested in. I brought it up at the OpenSSF governing board. I brought it up in my talk at OpenSSF community days, even though I only had 10 minutes, and I also talked about Artilius, and people were genuinely interested in what we were doing.
Cool.
There are other SIGs that are working on baselines and best practices and whatnot, but we're the only group that's trying to look at those best practices of baselines and frameworks and associate them to tooling that a DevOps engineer could easily walk through and say, this is how we're going to do it.
Okay. Yeah.
And honestly, at the end of the day, by the end of the conference, I had two epiphanies. One, there may not be that many tools that teams need to use. GitLab and GitHub probably are doing a lot of what we to meet those guidelines.
Yeah.
And two, we probably should be reaching out to platform engineers, because what I'm seeing are platform engineers are starting to think about how to build secure cloud environments for their developers, which include using some of these tools to do, attestation, zero trust. And it feels like while platform engineering isn't there yet, those are the teams who are excited about changing the way we do business, and they may be the ones that we ultimately are talking to.
Okay.
So that's kind of how that's how I felt at the on Thursday as we were driving home, and I was trying to kind of summarize in my mind what would be my choice. So those were them. Oh, hang on, somebody's trying to
Okay.
there. But it was a really good conference. There we had, I would say, compared to previous years, we had a really good number of people attending CDCon itself. I can tell you, I was super surprised to see 80 people in the room for lunch.
Oh.
Yeah, the room was completely packed. I looked around and I was like, because I'd been going to sessions, ones that I kind of went to different sessions. I went to some GovCon sessions and I would go back to CDCon. And I have to say that the CDCon had a really good attendance. It did.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hi, Sasha.
Hey, Sasha and Jude.
Hi. I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed CDCon, Tracy.
I did.
Tell
hurt
us
my
the good, the
back, though.
bad, what could be better, like from your,
Okay, what could be better? They could
yeah.
literally the glass. Hey, Sasha, water glasses were this big. I'm not
Why?
kidding, right, Kate?
They were
Great
little Dixie
question.
cups. You remember those little Dixie cups? I think 4 ounces.
I thought
If
Like
that
you
not
was
used
for
to rinse
schnapps.
your mouth out with?
Yeah.
I thought
they're
that was
like
for
this
schnapps, Tracy. Aren't those for schnapps?
I was just before my talk, I was like, hi, Kate, I'm so thirsty. She's like, you want me to get you some water? I was like, oh my God, that would be amazing. She had to bring back a handful of Dixie cups.
Oh my
cracking
God.
So, and I try to drink a lot of water. So if I'm not drinking water, I'm thirsty all the
Yeah,
time. And so
I
the
was.
second day, I decided to bring my water in some water bottles. So I had a water bottle and I had it in my backpack along with stickers and my computer, and I hurt my back.
Mm.
So I had to leave. I left I think that day at I crashed. What time, Kate? I told you I was like, I gotta go. It must
Yeah,
have been around 2 o'clock.
yeah.
You know what's
I was like,
interesting
I'm
about
hurting.
what you said, Tracy? It makes you think about what would it be like if water was rationed like that? You know what I mean?
That's how I felt. That's exactly how I
Yeah.
felt. Water was being rationed.
I went through it, right?
It
Yeah.
was dumb. It was
Mm.
dumb. First of all, we're in Denver. There are so many people that are not used to the altitude, and water is so
Mm.
essential because people can get really dehydrated really fast and they don't know it. So
Yeah.
why didn't they have? I mean, I put in I did a survey. It was like, get rid of the Dixie cups. If you're going to have a water station, at least give us 8-ounce glasses.
Yeah.
So that was the bad part, honestly. It really annoyed me.
And how was the focus group? What was your take on that? I'm sorry if you had that on
The
the
focus
schedule.
group, the focus group, our focus group probably was the best session that they had. And I heard
Really?
many people, many people came to me later and said that was the best session. They should make that one of the primary sessions every single year.
What do you think? What were
I
maybe
pushed
the
them.
1 or 2 reasons that it was so well
I
received?
pushed people. I think it's because I really push people to try to to think out of the box.
Oh, yeah.
And ask them about why they were doing things the way they were doing them, what's holding them back. And it was really obvious that we have a group of DevOps engineers that are close to retirement and they don't want to change anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
They're done.
Yeah.
They really are. And some of the new tooling, Sasha.
Yeah.
But the good news is we have platform engineers who are super excited about using all these new tools. Literally, they freaked out when I brought up MCPs, and some people didn't know what it was. Steve had to explain it to them, and using an LLM to manage a workflow.
Wow.
They lost their cookies. Let's just put it that way. They were
I got a
like,
Tracy t-shirt on. I bought a Tracy t-shirt.
You did. I want one.
Tracy's my follower. I follow Tracy because I love the way Tracy thinks. And once you've heard
I
Tracy
do.
talk one conference, you know what I mean? That's why I got
Yeah.
into open source, was because of Tracy. I heard her talk and I was like, wow, you're allowed to meet with this lady. She even has
Yeah.
a link there. It's insane.
Yeah.
I met with Tracy and
Yeah.
I was changed.
I'm here because of Tracy as well, because, you know, I see it, I see it, I see it with a different lens. I see what people need to really know, right? Like we need to get them out of their comfort zone. And I think Tracy's one of those people that really can just push them, but get them to really understand that it's good content, right? They need to, you know, what I was thinking about, Tracy, is this idea of those developers that are moving on is this succession plan. Has there ever been any discussion of what a succession plan looks like from one
no,
sort of
I did
generation
not
of
bring up.
developers handing it to the next generation?
It became really obvious to me as I sat and listened. And
Huh.
DevOps, it's not the DevOps engineer. The succession plan will be the platform engineers. That is, it's true. So they're the ones that are building the new development platforms, right? They're the ones that are creating the golden paths now. So it is platform engineers. And the more that I looked at this situation, the more I realized that in terms of whatever DevRel we are doing, the platform engineer, while the Jenkins community, we should serve them. We really have to. We should start doing more and more work around platform engineering, because platform engineers, just like DevOps engineers, are not security engineers, and they're going to be asked to fulfill some of these requirements that are in things like this, the secure software development framework. So the document that we're working on will serve platform engineers as much as DevOps engineers. But at the same time, I think we should start tweaking our discussion a little bit to include at least the topic around platform engineering, right?
Yeah.
In our website, in the introduction, on how we position the information. We should make sure we're not ignoring platform engineers, because dude, they are the next generation of DevOps.
I mean, that sounds like a key persona that we need to maybe think about as we're trying to promote, you know, the SIG, and we start to build that momentum as we go from city to city. They should really be a key persona that
And
needs
we
to
should
be.
have, and we should be having it, and we should try to learn to talk like they're talking, right?
Yeah.
We should listen to how they're framing the topic, because if you listen to them, and I've been listening
Can
to
you give
Sasha
me an
for quite some
example? Like,
time.
what would be an example between a software developer and
Okay,
a platform engineer topic? Yeah.
all you need to do is go to the Ortelius website
Uh-huh.
and read some of Sasha's blogs.
Okay.
And you'll see how a platform engineer thinks differently from a DevOps engineer in particular. Because what a platform engineer is trying to do is truly automate a process by which you can onboard a new developer, and you can take the process all the way across the life cycle into production. So that's why I say this is where DevOps is going to end up, as they have, as DevOps engineers retire. And the platform engineers, I mean, Steve's working at one of the national labs right now, and he works on the platform engineering team. And they're the ones building the zero trust clouds, which goes right to using SBOMs, using Trivy, using all these tools that are needed that we're starting to talk about in our documentation, that you would think DevOps engineers would be talking about, but they're not. That was the slap in the face that I pushed them. I pushed them pretty hard. And I had a couple of people who didn't say anything in the room who came up to me later and thanked me and said, we needed to have that. We needed to hear that. We needed to see how old we've gotten.
That's good.
In fact, when I was on you'll love this, Jude. I was on one of the TechStrong gigs, and they did a review of PlatformCon that happened at the same week as CDCon. And Alan, I said, Alan, what was the demographics like at PlatformCon? And he said, well, let's just say I felt old. I said, really? I went to CDCon and I felt young.
That's funny.
Yes,
oh my God.
Yes, Sasha.
Oh, that's good.
Sasha, you have your hand up.
No, sorry. Yeah, no, I put my hand up because I just wanted to, when you raised the platform engineering thing at was it the TOC? Was it the TOC? I think, or what's this?
Yeah, the TOC.
The silence that erupted afterwards was like, I was like, oh, I suddenly had like this epiphany that maybe people weren't thinking about this. I didn't realize it. I just thought, and people on, you guys are in the US. It's where it's all happening. It's like people should like, and then there was just a silence, and I was like, oh, I think Tracy hit a nerve.
You think?
And and then I was like, oh, but I totally agree with Tracy, and I disagree with everyone else.
I know. I did. I brought this topic up to the CDF's Technology Oversight Committee because it's an important topic. We have to, if we want to stay relevant, we have to evolve. This is software, for God's sakes. We've got AI agents coming through. We've got to figure out how to track versions of LLMs. There are so many new things that we have to be thinking about doing, and we can't just sit there and go, no, our CI/CD pipelines are perfect. We'll never touch them again.
Yeah, it sounds like a great opportunity for the CD Foundation to really kind of, let the world know that they're there to teach in a way that sometimes can be uncomfortable, but we have to be at the forefront of it, right? I think.
But if you think about what their situation is, it's I did a little riff about Google, and they did a loop on it for TechStrong Gig. And Google is facing an interesting problem because more and more people are using Anthropic and ChatGPT to do searches because we don't get bombarded with commercials, right? You go and you go and find your information. So fewer and fewer people are using Google, even though they have their whatever Genesis that they have that's up in that window that tries to give you some stuff. It's just a different way of working. And that is Google's main source of income. So they've been putting a ton of money behind and buying tooling behind their Google Cloud. And, to me, it's their way of pivoting. They probably see the writing on the walls as well and realize building solid environments, look how big AWS has come. It makes more money than the store, right? Yeah. So Amazon isn't as big as AWS. Well, where's CloudBees going to go?
Yeah.
How do they pivot?
They finally have moved towards being more AI centric in the story that they're telling. They've never told that story before until the acquisition of Launchable, right? Now they have really something to say.
It's still, Launchable is probably not going to be consumed by Jenkins users. I bet if I was to ask how many people have implemented Launchable, the platform engineers, if they're going to do something, that's all going to be testing platforms that the platform engineers are building.
Oh, so
you
they
see what
don't.
I'm saying?
Oh,
where is
wow.
a Jenkins workflow engine? Where does it fit into that world?
I don't know.
I mean, Sasha,
I
does
agree. I mean, personally, I
yeah.
agree with everything that you're saying. Like,
Huh.
it's we're going to see a really, I think, a very fast disruption,
Mm.
and I think only a few of us, and there's a few of us who really want it too, who really understand the need for this disruption. You know, it as yeah. Go ahead, Sasha. Sorry. Ah, no
No,
thumbs up.
I'm thumbing you up. I'm listening to you. No,
Yeah.
you carry on.
Yeah, I mean, we are in desperate need of a true disruption here that, you know, that goes beyond, because we've been so focused on this minutia, on this, just we're so myopic. It's it's just not even consumable. And what I like about some of the things that Tracy talked about, and even, you know, quite frankly, the things that I saw with Steve's presentation, and Tracy, gosh, I think I downloaded it, but I would love for him to review it with us, because it
He
incorporates
will.
he incorporates zero trust, and most importantly, it's the same tool. You know, these tools that he uses, it's not like 5,000 tools. You
Use
know, it's
6.
yeah, that's
6 tools.
consumable. That's what we're
Yeah,
talking about. And it
I know.
fulfills it fulfills a security architecture. Today we're calling it zero trust. You know, tomorrow who knows what it's going to be called? Because I think
And I
it's more
think
than.
that, you know, like just like we did the Ortelius job seekers toolkit, we
Mhm.
should add a page to our to our website, or a page to our documentation that's resources and learning, and
Mhm.
find other presentations like Steve did, uh, to add to that list so people can see that. Yeah, set up zero trust with 6 tools.
Yeah, I mean, trust me. Before I left, you know, for my sabbatical, zero trust was like, if I had to talk about it one more time, and it was like, it was so huge. I mean, it was just like, okay, like this is such a big topic, but being able to take it down to 6 tools, are you kidding me? This is what we need.
That and that is a platform engineer. I mean, you know, if I was to define
Mm.
who Steve is at heart, Steve is probably one of the original platform engineers. He's been doing this kind of work for a very long time, and he's never seen it as just setting up an environment for development. He's always seen it as an entire process. How do you move
Mhm.
things all the way out to production? How do you set up, how do you configure and track production key value pairs, right? All the way down to that detail level. So when he does a presentation, you do see it not from a DevOps engineer's perspective, but you see it from a platform engineer's perspective. It's
And quite frankly,
when
a cybersecurity perspective.
yeah,
For,
yeah, well,
from, yeah.
yeah. So
And
I
Steve's not
think that
retiring anytime soon, is he?
no, he's not, and he's young.
Okay,
He's
good.
probably he's easily 10 years younger than many of the people in that room.
Okay.
Never retire. I don't believe in it. I
I,
don't.
Yeah, I don't think he ever
I
I
don't
will.
believe in it.
honestly, no,
I don't either. I don't know what I'd do. Sit and
I
watch
kind
the
of
What am I
agree.
going to do?
right?
I know.
That's
Pick
what
up the dog
I would
poo?
kind of
What?
agree with that, Sasha. I
you know,
do.
to be honest, I
What do
love
you?
this industry. I have so much fun in this industry because it requires you to learn all the time.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sitting in that room talking to those people that didn't want to learn anymore, I was like, you guys are no longer relevant. I
Yeah.
think I said
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I agree.
Let me
Totally.
erase you.
I
Yeah.
said, if you do not change, that means you're retired and you're no longer relevant.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
told them
Finish
that
life like a
in the
hot
meeting.
rod. That's how you should go out.
Yes,
Yeah.
Please, man.
exactly. Not that I'm a Trump fan, but the man's 79 and he's running the country and being crazy, right? He's not
Yeah.
sitting there. He's not sitting
That's the
along
way
the
to look
beach.
at it, Tracy. All right. I can
I'm just
accept that.
saying,
I
right?
can
I'm
accept
just
that. That's
saying.
the way. I
Yeah,
never
all the way
thought of
from
it that
Africa to
before.
it's an
All
interesting
right.
movie from all the way from Africa, that's for sure.
I
Yeah.
bet. I
I'm
wish I was
sure.
living in Africa right now.
Hey, you're welcome to come to Cape Town. I'll show you around. No problem. Any one of you want to come down?
That sounds like a really
I
good
would
place to hang
love
out
to
for the
check
next
out
3
Cape
years.
Town.
Yo, if you
Yeah.
come this way, you let me know.
You know, the music vibe in Cape Town is like blowing up right now.
Yeah.
That whole Afrobeat scene is massive.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah, it's massive.
humongous right now. Yeah, it's really
It's
fun.
like platform engineering. You know what, Jude? How many people were at Platform Con? Take a
No.
guess. How many people attended Platform Con? Just take a wild guess.
Oh, 100,
I'm gonna
200.
take 5.
40,000.
No
What?
way.
40,000 people. That's insane. I didn't even know that. I was one of them.
You got to. Where was it held?
It was all
Virtual.
virtual, and they had about 600 people at a small in-person venue in New York. But
No
40,000
God.
people were online.
Yeah,
40,000.
I did a ton of workshops, hour-and-a-half workshops, and they literally take you through step-by-step examples of how to build these things and integrate these things. Amazing. Mind blowing.
Yeah.
Wow, how in the world did they go about getting so many attendees?
Yeah.
Because
What was their
the way
formula?
that I think if you look at how they're building out that annual Platform Con, it is all about education, training, how to do things. It's super open. It's free
Yeah.
to attend. And it is not managed by any one large company. It is purely, it is an open source completely effort, 100%.
Alan is the one who heads it up though?
No, Alan just attended.
Okay.
I know the people who run it because they're
Yeah.
giving me the course.
Yeah, sure.
And
Right.
through my company, I have a partnership with them, so I'm in their private channel, so I have direct access to them. As I sent them all to Tracy. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're gonna get.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reach out. I actually reached out to Andrea Fertoli on the TOC, and I asked if we could invite them to a TOC call in September. I haven't gotten anything back because my goal is to require the TOC to have a platform engineering advisory council that we talk to once a quarter.
Tracy, I literally said to Casper, the CEO, I said, hi, I know somebody called Tracy Reagan who would really love to speak to you, and would you be interested? I would absolutely love that. Here's a LinkedIn. Great. Set it up. That was it. Done.
Yeah, I'll reach out to him and give him my opinion about the whole situation. But I am going to get them into a TOC meeting. I want to build just a council. I think the DevOps engineers of the world and the CD Foundation in particular should be trying to pivot into more platform engineering. It's just where we have to be.
What I think would be kind of interesting, Tracy, is how do we bridge that relationship with Platform Con, with our SIG, right? Like how can we cross sort of at least introduce ourselves to each other and figure out how do we help each other or cross promote? Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely going to happen.
40,000 is insane. I was not.
It's insane.
That's a
40,000 people attended that.
That's
now,
shocking.
That doesn't mean 40,000.
That is shocking to me. No, I'm really flipping blown away from that number.
I think that they said they had something like 60,000 registered.
Wow.
Okay.
And 40,000 attend.
It's shocking.
I have to see this. I now have to attend because I really want to know how they're doing this thing. Yeah.
So Platform Con, it happens in June. They're looking at expanding the in-person in New York. This was a trial, but they want to keep it. It will stay online. It'll stay free and it'll stay online.
How long has this conference been going on?
Maybe 5 or 6 years.
Okay. Wow, relatively new.
Yeah.
Let
me see.
Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, hey Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, You mean,
about the platform engineering and all this kind of stuff.
I think it's like we should do some outreach. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm not sure how
Bingo.
to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
How do
started in
we, what's the,
2022. It's
yeah,
3
what's the
years
best
old.
approach?
Wow.
Outreach standpoint, what do you think? Do we reach out to them
I
through?
think this group in particular, we have to focus on getting our work done. And I think that that's the most important thing that we can do right now is to keep our heads down, get this website done. And I have assigned myself some issues and I haven't gotten them done yet. But we need to get the documentation written as you know, as efficiently as we can over the course of the next 3 or 4 months.
Mhm.
And then starting in next year, I think that, you know, our you know, if we continue with this SIG, because the goal of the SIG was just to get the documentation written and done, right? And then move on. But if we want to continue, I would say that we might want to retire this SIG and move it into platform engineering CI/CD, right? Instead of, or platform engineering cybersecurity, instead of
Yeah.
just CI/CD security. So that's what I would say, because just doing that, we will pivot to be looking at platform engineering and not CI/CD. So that's my thought, is that we get this
Yeah.
updated, we get the doc done, and then we think about who we want to pivot to, if we want to pivot to the platform engineering group, and we have to, you know, take that up with the TOC.
So how
But
are
we
we,
need to get our work done.
yeah, and once it's done, and again, these are just questions only because I'm just trying to understand it a little bit better. How are you sort of evangelizing the documentation, you know, in the SIG? Like how is the
I've been
feedback
pretty quiet
coming?
about it since it's not done, right?
Yeah.
We only have one section that's close to being done, and Chris and Anne Marie Fred are the reasons why it's as far as it is. They've both done excellent jobs. But we have 3 other sections that we have to finish, so we have quite a bit of work yet to do. So I haven't been telling a lot of people because I don't want them to go there and look at empty data. It needs to
Yeah.
be farther along. But I have, Jude. I announced it in my talk.
Mhm.
Steve talked about it. I talked about it at the CI/CD focus group, and I brought it up to the OpenSSF community.
Because
Community days.
we have some interest with the Washington DC CICD, the CDF meetup group. There's someone there that's saying, "Hey, we're willing to host a cyber, you know, a SIG
Yeah,
event." And I was thinking,
we just need to be able to get it done so we can go and just do
but
demos and say, here's where the information is.
but what I was thinking is whatever is needing help to finish the documentation, that's how we that's how we promote the meetup. Is like, we need your help, right? We need this done.
So I don't think, yes, we should do that. I think that's a great idea, Jude. But again, I'm going to push to, we have the summer. Let's see how much work we can get done. And then let's think about getting some meetups happening in the fall.
How long
And
do
if
you
there's
think,
a meetup,
Tracy?
you can,
Look,
well, if we have some
what's
deadlines,
your timeline on completion? Like, what were you hoping in terms of a date?
let's just say it this way. There's 12 issues out there. If we had 12 people that took one issue, it could be done in 3 weeks.
Okay.
Honestly, if
Yeah.
we had the right people to write the material, right? So if it's going to be, you know, me plugging away at it and maybe Chris taking something on and getting Anne Marie to do another one, it's going to take longer because you know, we just need more people writing.
Okay.
And
That's
just
what
a
I
couple
said.
things. One thing is I sent a picture that I took of Steve's, the tools that he used.
Hmm.
And I know I did some things with RV, with respond to vulnerabilities within the first group, Tracy.
Yeah.
And I would just go back personally and now plug in these tools that he used. And when you're talking about platform engineering, the way that I see it, we could this would be so easy to incorporate this into to go into platform engineering, because we can build it out like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like as we're building
yeah.
this 3 steps, we think from a platform engineering standpoint so that we can push it out. And let's, I definitely will commit to having that RV done. I'm sorry, but definitely our next.
I haven't done my work either between getting, I've been pretty swamped in other areas. I have a couple of grants I have to get out, and I'm hoping August will be a quiet month, and I probably can crank out 3 or 4 of those chapters in August. If I sit down and I work on it, I can get it done.
Yeah.
We might have to pass it off to Chris to pretty it up, but I can
Yeah,
get the
yeah.
content out there. Getting the content out there is what we really just have to focus on. But yeah, so that's my thought, that we just continue working on this. I think what I need to do is ping the group, the people that are out there that have joined this, and say, we still need help on this. We still need help on this. Here's an issue. Assign yourself an issue, or tell me what issues you may want to be interested in. So I need to do more, a little more nagging. Or Kate, you should do some nagging. Yeah.
Yeah, I could do that.
So, and I would just send it
I could
out
be
to
the bad
the
cop.
group.
You could be the good
Yeah.
cop.
Okay, that's the plan. Yeah,
I'll
Kate,
be
if you
grumpy.
start nagging. Yeah. And
I'll be the
let's,
grumpy.
and let's say a deadline. Well, let's set ourselves a deadline of September 15th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way to,
Sure.
we work well under deadlines.
Yeah.
I want to set up some meetups, either virtual or hybrid or in person.
Well, why don't we start doing meetups in October? Let's shoot for October.
Okay.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah.
Because it gives people the amount to.
Yeah. And I'll just try to, I'll work with Roxanne to promote meetups starting in October. What city does everyone feel like we should start in?
I like DC.
I think, well,
I think you should start in Cape Town.
I think we should start.
Well,
I think we should.
I want it to be hybrid. I really want it
It
to
has
be
to
a
be
hybrid
hybrid.
event. Yeah.
So
I
you
want
pick
people
the
to
town.
jump in and
Boston,
participate.
New York
Totally okay.
Where? Austin? Did someone say Austin?
Boston or New York City?
Oh. We don't have an actual CDF meetup group in New York City. Washington,
Is the
DC
closest.
might be the one that represents New York. Yeah.
Okay.
So Jude, you pick.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Pick, and it doesn't, and it's not going to matter, even if whoever does the talk is a virtual, because we need to make sure it's virtual as well.
It has to
So
be
you
virtual.
pick the city.
Yeah.
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 So you pick the city. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
I would find out who the big, it used to be the Jenkins meetup in San Francisco used to be the largest.
Yeah. It was a big one.
Like 2,000 people. Yeah.
Yeah. And right now, San Francisco it is exploding. Like, I've been around San Francisco for a very long time, and I've seen sort of this depression after COVID. Man, it is a whole new ball game in San Francisco right now. It is exploding in commercial real estate growth. On average of 50,000 square foot spaces that these AI companies are taking, and they are gobbling them up like crazy right now, right?
That's crazy.
It is insane what's going on in San Francisco from the AI side of things. And so I thought, because of all this excitement, that maybe San Francisco could be one, but I also thought of Boston and I thought of New York, right? Those, in my opinion, is this sort of triangle of technology and where it's all kind of coming from here and there, from the financial side to the technology side to the funding sides, right?
Well, I think that if you want to really get it moving again, if you could do it in San Francisco in person and get Kosuke to show up, that would be a huge win.
That would be a win in October.
Yeah. Even if we did, we don't have to just do one presentation. We can do more than one.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So
I'm working.
Do 30 minutes with him and 30 minutes with us. I think that would bring a lot of people in.
I I landed a contract with with an AI company called Nebius, Nebius. And so they have me running around looking at different venues, and we have an event that I'm planning for them in San Francisco. So I'm looking at all kinds of venues, but I'm also looking for partnerships as well. If you have any clients, or if anybody has any clients in San Francisco as their HQ and they have a campus or something like that that we could use, that would be really good, because they will have everything. They'll have the virtual, they'll be able to kind of set it all up without spending a ton of money, you know. But I think we have Michelle's support. We have Roxanne's support now, right? So this is good. This is a great opportunity to try and get something going. But if anybody has any relationships in Boston for office space, I know, Kate, you had mentioned someone. I'm trying to remember the company. And if anybody has any connections in New York as well, right? So I think that would be really, really
I'll
good.
start looking at this too. We'll work on this together.
Let's try to get, it'd be great if we could have an October one and a November one, but we better make sure our ducks are in a row. So
Yes.
let's focus on getting this stuff done. And I will get my issues taken care of and take on some more.
And mine too. And I will, yeah, I'll definitely be the RV one. So.
And again, what I'm thinking, even if it's not quite done, this is where we could maybe get some people that raise their hand and say, hey, I'm willing to help step in to help get it done. Right?
I feel like I had my own epiphany. Like when I saw like Steve's presentation, I thought, no, we're making this more complicated than it has to be. We have a blueprint in front of us. That's how I feel. We have this blueprint. Let's follow the blueprint, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think we should, if somebody wants to add something, but you know, as a person who has dealt with so many tools people, the least amount of tools, the better, you know, the whole Michelangelo, the chisel and the hammer guys, you know?
Yeah.
That's what he had.
Small is always beautiful. Small is always beautiful. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I always think of the CNCF webpage, you know, the tapestry of 1 billion tools. You've seen that page. That was it.
You're talking about the landscape. It's nuts.
You looked at that page. I looked at that and I'm like, you can select a tool from here. And I'm like, really?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, think about this. If Steve is using this for the government as you know, as his go-to model, and it's working, we're idiots not to follow it. I mean, it's right there
because they did all that work, right?
So,
I know
he already did all the work. He's like, this should be
easy the platform engineer's mentality. That's why I was saying, look, it's simple, it's easy to do, it gets the job done.
And does it call out
easily?
Does it call out these 6 tools that you're referring to, Kate? Or
oh yeah.
I mean, these are the tools that he's using, and in his slides, in different slides, he even did like these little like, this is what I did here, this is what I did there, and I'm like, all right, you know, we say nothing else. we're fools.
That is the kind of presentation you would see at PlatformCon.
Yeah. And one thing is, those are battle tested tools because he uses it at Nautilus, right?
Yeah.
Battle tested already. That's what he's been doing the whole time. Every time when you get involved in Nautilus, you'll be exposed to Steve's way of doing things with those minimal set of tools. So we're all getting educated on how to do it with minimal tools, with it, like what Kate said, with a chisel and a hammer, and that's it.
Right.
Yeah. This is
all
it.
All right, guys. I got to jump. I got another call I have to get on. In fact, I might be late for it. Thanks.
Always a pleasure, guys.
All right.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Pretty cool.
All right. Bye, everyone. Good to see you all.
Bye.
Bye, Chris.
Bye.